Oh, that was fucking gross. I'm sorry, guys.
Groovy, baby.
Oh my.
All right.
Huh? We're over here tapping in with KWJT, Puget Sound from space. I'm over here with Corey. You're tapping in with Tavares and sliding with Solana. What's going on, KWJT? It is a beautiful Saturday upon us. Yeah, let's get to the nitty gritty. We're episode 46 up in the motherfucking house. We want to thank everybody out there who continue to show us support. Oh my God, that last episode, Frencioso, went fucking crazy. We want to thank everybody at home for continuing to tap in with us and give us support. Little side note, last night, Tacoma, you showed us major love. We just want to show love back. So thank you. You know who you are. Anyways, we got a motherfucking dinger up in the house for you guys. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our friend Michael, who also goes by For Good Services.
Come on.
And also, what the fuck? You already know what the fuck going on, boy. You see that, Louis?
Yeah, shout out Jaime as well, definitely.
Hey, that boy, he right there. He right there. All right. It's a beautiful day.
That was right before I barely just started growing a little facial hair. That was before. That was maybe 7 months ago when we did that. I'm looking at it like, dang, man, I'm still no hair on my face.
young Michael San, paving the ways, man. This is amazing. Thank you for coming through to the Groovy Abode.
Thank you for having me.
We truly appreciate it. I'll go ahead and kick things off if you don't mind.
You got hella energy. I'm gonna let you.
Well, I just wanted to start things off with a little light question. I think it's amazing that you've been curating a whole culture of fashion with what you're doing, and I wanted to ask you, what garment catches your eye when you're creating new clothes?
Ooh, like what do I like to make the most?
Yeah,
without a doubt, pants. Easily pants. It's the hardest and it's my favorite item for sure though. Like that's when I'm going out and I'm trying on clothes. I love looking at pants. It's a big test of how they fit though. You know what I mean? That's a make or break. So I think pants for sure, because I'm like, that's what I can change. Like they kind of make the fit, in my opinion. It's the most subtle piece, but plays the most factor on, because then the shirt might look too big, the shirt might look too small. If the pants fit a certain, too big or too small. Yeah. So you got to play off that. I think pants easily.
When you're creating because I got hip to you through Jaime was wearing a lot of your stuff early, and just like Instagram, and I was just like, oh, there's this new brand that like reconstructs and like really is really taking a new approach to workwear. How'd you get that love for I'm gonna jump all over the place, but how'd you get that love for like workwear and just denim and just things of that nature? Is because it's just like everyone has these certain appreciations of like stylistic things, but you can tell that you've done enough research and you have the knowledge of like certain denim and just there's just certain things that you bring to it.
I would say that's an excellent question, because I would say like for sure it's the fabrics that workwear uses. I don't know what it is necessarily about the workwear style where like they do the double front, like the patchwork of it is it's just like the subtle detail added to it that makes it gives the pant character without changing like too much of the look. But specifically workwear, because I like the fabric for sure. They use heavier fabrics, typically like 8 ounce to 12 ounce like denims, and like I love like the striped railroad denim like you see on like overalls and stuff. That's one of my favorites, and that's so I like the heavy duck canvas, heavy cottons. I just like those because they're easy to work with, they're fun to work with as far as when you're actually sewing them, like how they cooperate, because all fabric kind of sews differently. Oh, really? So like silk for instance is ridiculously hard to sew. you have to have like a special machine to do it in the first place. But like that type of fabric, it slips. So like when you're sewing two sides together, it'll constantly be like moving, adjusting. So you've got to be doing really short bursts of stitches to keep it kind of aligned, because you want to keep the edges aligned to make the seam even. So I would say like the workwear stuff is really just easy to work with, because it's like the heaviest fabrics. They sew beautifully, but they're also really durable, so they last a long time too. So they'll kind of be like, you'll have the item as long as you want to have the item, which is kind of a nice thing to offer when selling a product. You know, it's I want it to last. You know, so I think. Especially too with the workwear stuff, it's because the silhouettes they use too, because a lot of it is bigger and oversized, so I can trim it down and make it a more realistic, a more slimmer, more modern fit.
Have you got into deconstructing and really like shaping pants?
Yeah, for sure. That's like the main thing I do, for sure. Like that's how I got started with the pants, is by cutting open the inseam, which is basically the middle of the pant. When you cut open the whole middle of the pant, which is basically just one long stitch, then you can lay the pant flat, and then you're working with the flat pattern, which is like you can do anything you want from there. So then like adding the circles and the, you know, all the patches and the cool prints and stuff, like that's easy. Once you have the flat pattern, you're sewing on a flat surface. You know what I mean?
You're not sewing through.
Right. Because in that case you'd need one of those machines that's like a single arm, and it looks like this, and you can sew like within the circle of a pant or a hat, or like you know kind of whatever. Like the homie down the hall from me at the studio. He does shoes, and he has one of those machines because he works like inside of the shit. Yeah, so it's like crazy to see.
Dope.
Yeah, so it's kind of just like different little tricks and stuff. But deconstructing is a big part of like my first step in anything I'm making. It's how can I like change what I don't like about this and keep what I do like about it.
I love that. I wanted to ask how you developed your signature style with the patchwork and just adding, because it's you can tell that they're very specific ways that like you're trying or you achieve what you're looking for, and like your pattern style as far as like the circles to how you place double squares on like my pants, and just how you just elevated bringing patchwork to your style. Like how did you find that?
I would say like the biggest influence for me style-wise definitely is Japanese fashion, and Japanese fashion is a lot of reconstructing, deconstructing, raw edges on fabrics, more unconventional, you know, finishes of seams and stuff like that. And I think it's really cool because at the same time, it may be unconventional, but it'll last just as long as some of the other, you know, more conventional styles and stuff. But it was like, I just love mixing different fabrics together, like the patterns, and I love plaids and stripes, and it's all about like how the colors sit for me, because as much as I do love patchwork, there are definitely times where I'm working on a project and I'm like, this just looks terrible with the patch on it, which is where I start doing more of like the layering of the same color of fabric, because I'm like, I want to add like some more substance to it. I want to give it detail and kind of add that one item that somebody's going to be like, that's why I want it. That's dope. Like, oh, it's got the extra pocket that like, oh, you can actually use that. Like, that's crazy. I like that it's placed down on the shin, or I like that it's placed awkwardly on the thigh. Like, so it's definitely just finding that combination of color, fabric, because not all fabrics you can sew together either. There's different types of there's like woven and knit fabrics, and typically you can't really mix the two unless you're sewing more so a knit onto a woven, because knit fabric is like a t-shirt, like it stretches 4 ways. Whereas woven, which is like pants and like denim and stuff like that, that's 1-way stretch really, if it even has any stretch.
Interesting.
So like there's like technicalities to when you're sewing stuff that you're like, you got to follow the guidelines as far as like industry standards, because some of it just makes sense, and then some of it's just guidelines as far as like they're just boundaries you can break, you know? So it's just finding that fine line of like what works well together and what doesn't. And then I think the final part of like that combination, like you said, with doing some of the shapes and the circles and stuff, is just taking inspiration from other brands that I see that I like what they're doing, and kind of just doing it my way. You know, like I like camouflage, but I don't really want to do like a full camouflage pattern. Like I love Bape, you know, so I like the print that they do. It's so I like those organic shapes that they do. So I'll do like 2 organic shapes on mine, and it's like a whole new shape instead of being like oh, this is all over print. This is clearly camouflage. That's clearly influenced by that. It's more so of like, where did this come up with? But it's like, oh, I got that. I like the organic shapes of like countries, you know, like the planet. Like I like the world, and, you know, when it's green and blue and white, and you know, it's like a cartoon drawing. I like the shapes that it are. So it's like,
oh, that's fine.
Organic shapes, you know, and I love abstract paintings. So that's kind of my version. Doing the mixed up patterns and colors, and it's kind of my version of doing like abstract painting because I'm not a good painter. Yeah.
No, I think
to answer your question.
No. This is perfect. Like that's what podcasts are for. Like,
give him a motherfucking hand clap. That's all I want to do.
When you give that like that big reading, I know it's either wisdom or make that motherfucking
this
sound.
is truly what it's meant for. I think people would love to hear your breakdown on your brand. So, excuse me. Let me film. Speaking of your pants, I wanted to talk about your piece you made for Spoken Ray.
Oh yeah. Wait, which one?
Ooh,
I know.
That boy Spoken Ray.
Come on.
Yeah,
hey, come on.
All right, this is a little dabble. We love you, Ray. But yeah, man.
Shout out Alex.
Man, it's I would say it's the FGS denim pants. It's like has FGS all over it.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the old
The
school,
all
like
over print.
the NBA like logo pants.
Yeah,
kind of remind me of that. But dude, I want to talk to you about your mind behind that, because
oh, definitely. Well, so like what I did was I have like these heat transfers that I do similar to screen printing.
Mm-hmm.
The way that it's similar to screen printing is when it goes on, it doesn't feel like vinyl. It moves with the fabric similar to like screen print does.
Yeah,
It's more durable and stuff, so it's cool. But I really got that idea from Gold Vintage down the hall, man, because they did the crazy all over laser print.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, that's next level. That's nuts. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get that anything near like with the laser engraving made, but I know I can do my prints. And so I was like, I want to kind of like make my version of that because I love like the all over prints.
Yeah.
Man, shout out Gold Vintage because they were doing their thing too. Like they got crazy product that they're making.
Crazy.
Yeah, the standout for me was the glasses they made last year. Like
they did
the mini rugs. Like so I mean
the camera.
Yeah, definitely.
The
like
film camera was like just so rare. The little point and shoot that they dropped. I love how outside of the box GV like really allows his brand.
For sure. Yeah, no, I really
Jabri goes
shout
crazy.
out Jabri, man. He's a cool dude. Yeah, shout out Bass Kids as well, man. I like Bass Kids. He does a lot of cool. Yeah, exactly. They do a lot of good stuff together and individually as well. But no, because I definitely like, there's been all over prints from, like I said, I like Bape as well, so they do all sorts of crazy prints. But the other reason I did that is because I had a stack of leftover heat transfers that were like old designs, and I was like, I kind of need to like use these up, So I was like, fuck it, let me reinvent something, and so I kind of just like put my spin on it, those ended up being one of the more popular items for sure. I had a bunch of people hit me up for those too.
That's fire.
Yeah, sneak preview. I'm gonna have those at the pop-up at the end of the month too. I'm doing like an updated version with some Levi's 550s.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's my favorite Levi's fit, kind of that baggy. Yeah, but I'm gonna have some of those there. Ray was the first person to cop that style though from me.
Ray's consistent.
He bought my pair.
He's consistently like
he bought my sample.
Showing people how to like dress, but he's showing people how to like buy locally and like put it on.
Sure, because he's just a genuinely good dude.
Yeah,
like, you can be around him and he's so like energetic in a positive way. Like you just feel uplifted.
Exactly.
Like it's. Yeah, he shows a lot of love to a lot of people in Seattle and Tacoma and Federal Way and every area.
Everywhere, exactly.
Whole Washington, man.
Yeah, man. If he can get there, he'll be there for you.
Exactly.
This is a Ray Love hour.
Come
so,
on.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out Ray.
We know
you watched the podcast.
Yes, I can't wait to watch this episode.
Some music, man. We're waiting for some music, man.
Come on,
man. Spoken Ray's. They don't call him Spoken Ray for nothing. Like,
exactly.
We need some music, Ray. Come on, man.
So
playing with us.
I wanted to get into like the origins of the brand, but before we get into that, what were you doing right before you were Michael from For Good Services? Before you like launched, like what was?
Oh man,
what was that pre cook up like?
Well, so I've had the brand for like 3.5, almost 4 years now. I I started it originally with 2 different buddies of mine.
Yeah.
One of them I had a falling out with, which, you know, it's how it goes sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
definitely happened for the better because a lot of good things happened after that. But I wish the best for that person for sure. They're still doing their thing. But really, we had started it like 3.5, 4 years ago with the idea of growing it into something bigger, which is kind of how we came up with, like, For Good kind of came with 3 different meanings, really. Like, one, For Good was really like, I want to be here for good, long term. Longevity was always the name of my game because I was seeing a lot of pop-up brands that were like doing something really cool, but it was like a really they do one thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, that's totally cool. Like, I like those brands too. Don't get me wrong. Like, I still bought my fair share of that product and stuff, but at the same time, I knew that their goal was like sell as much with their name on it as they could in a short amount of time versus like, I want to have somebody have to run this after I'm dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hopefully it gets to that level.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it's For Good as far as like longevity, long term. The other part of it was basically like just for doing it for the good of like my people, my community, the people that identify with the details that I'm putting into it, people that appreciate that I'm the one sewing on the machine, you know, kind of actually putting effort into it. And yeah, that was really it, definitely, because I was working at a couple different little small stores, and they had different communities around them. Yeah. And getting to be a part of those communities really showed me, like, I want to build my own for sure, because I want to build, because as cool as it was to see and be a part of other communities, those weren't necessarily always good either. You know what I mean? There's goods and bads. So in those environments, to be honest with you, it was mostly negative. So I learned a lot of what I don't want to do, for sure. Yeah. So it was really cool. And I just knew, like, I wanted to create my own platform. I knew I wanted to create my own something that I'd be able to communicate with. And, like, seek out people like me, because I just want to hang out with people like me at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Creatives like you guys that hang out, want to, you know, talk ideas. And there's more to just hanging out. We can actually get some work done, too, while we hang out. Yeah. You know, I like I'm definitely like a hustler mentality as far as like if I'm going somewhere, I need to have a purpose as far as why I'm going there. I can't just go there. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna go somewhere, I gotta politic, talk to some people, shake some hands, meet some people that I haven't met before. Exactly. You know, like
be outside for a reason.
Yeah, you know, I always bring product with me where I'm going. So like, you know, a lot of times I'm like, oh yeah, you know, I have the brand, and people are like, oh, that's you, and I'm like, yeah, that's me. Well, you got anything on you? Yeah, come to my trunk. Exactly. I got hats, I got shirts, I got, you know, I got pants, exactly. Yeah,
what size are you?
Yeah, and then I end up going somewhere and like making some money, and then I'm like, ooh, that was
beneficial.
Yeah, that was totally beneficial. I got to hang out with people I like, you know, meet some new people, sell something, like, what's better? Yeah, you know what I mean? Probably smoke some good weed. Like, what's better than that? Like, yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. What was the second part of your?
Well, that led into the second part. I was asking like the pre-cook up. So you basically explained like
right.
Like how you got into like
with the For Good name. Yeah. So basically, I started like 3.5, 4 years ago. I went full time with it back in November, so about 7 months ago. Nice. Basically, in between that time, I was working full time while running my brand, and basically just saving up money and reinvesting into my brand. That was literally all I was doing. I had a savings goal. I had a savings plan for myself for like 2-3 years. Yeah. And I stuck to that. I tucked away money, and then anything extra that was supposed to be more disposable income was still stuff that I was like, I had to spend it on the brand. Yep. And, you know, buy equipment, buy product that I would then sell, make more money. You know what I mean? I was always doing things like that. Because it's really funny. I meet a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, like I want to have a brand, and they just think it's really lucrative. Yeah. And it can be like,
you just got to do that build up.
But like at the end of the day, if you want something that's going to be long term, you've got to invest so much into the brand. Like I'm still in the red as far as like running my brand, like because I was for the past 3 years I've been running up the bill.
Can you repeat that for people?
Yes.
That just learned like that fuck with for good services.
Let me say this for the people slouching in the back. You know what I mean? So if you want to have a long term, if you want to build something that is actually going to be here sustainable, you have to be willing to invest your own money into it, and not only that, but invest a lot of it into it. Like, come on. Numbers wise, I'm gonna hit 50K here soon as far as what I've put into the brand.
Come on.
I've seen a good chunk back, but I'm still in the red. I've still got a long way to go.
Come on. What I mean? That's for the people in the back that just think hard work comes out of nothing. You got to.
But I also like to play with legacy coins, legacy dollars.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? The stuff that I'm like, well, I'm really glad I spent that 10 grand, like, you know, 20 years ago. You know, I want to look back when I'm 50 and be like, well, I'm glad I did those things then. When I was younger.
You're already stacking up those legacy chips too.
Man, yeah, I'm trying to, because like it's that's how you're really gonna, like, that's how you seek the worth in your everyday life. You know what I mean? That's how you see the value in the little things that you do. You see more value in certain relationships, and it's you get to invest in those people, you know, because I'm definitely like a very giving person. I want to give to my people. Like, my circle is very small, because at the end of the day, I've had, you know, like I said, I had fallen out with my homie. Like, I've had close people that I thought, you know, damn, I'll know this person till the end of my life.
Yeah.
Like, I've had them, you know, hurt me, you know, or I've hurt them, or, you know, and it's just like, that's a crazy thing to go through, and then be as a giver, and because like I just want to give shit, you know.
Yeah.
Like, because like a lot too, kind of ties into the build up with the brand. Like, I was never going around saying I have a brand. Like, I was just working full time, doing it on the side, wearing my product, and then as people would be like, oh, like, what's that shirt? Like, what's that sweater?
Yeah.
I'd say, oh, it's, you know, I made this.
This is me.
Yeah, and they'd be like, what? Like, you know, like, well, can I get one? Like, can I buy one? I'd be like, well, like, I'm not really selling these right now, but like, just pay me the cost of it and I'll make you one. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I started getting my name out there, really. Because I worked at a number of different places, a couple small different stores. But where I really started to get my traction was when I was working at, I was working for Gucci previously.
Oh, fire.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a good experience for sure. You know, slinging that luxury designer, all that handbags, and expensive everything. Expensive belts. But it was really cool. But I was also like, I worked for Gucci, but we were inside of the Nordstrom that's downtown Seattle.
Yeah.
So as cool as it was to work for Gucci, it was great because I was exposed to all this Nordstrom traffic. The Nordstrom traffic is like no other, because it's basically people that are seeking the best of the best and going to one place to find it.
Yep.
There's looking at every good designer brand and, you know, picking out what they like and piecing their outfits together from that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my type of person. I do make full fits and stuff, but for the most part, I like my stuff to be paired with other things, you know, because there are other really cool brands doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
I like a lot of other brands myself.
That's
I typically
fine.
only wear my stuff because I'm really bad about, as much as I do love other brands and I try to support other brands, I'm really bad about spending my money on other things because I'm still just
running my brand.
Yeah, like I said, I'm still like early in running my business, like, because from the business side of things, I still have a long way to go. From the brand side, I'm making good progress and, you know, doing a lot of cool things. I've got to style a bunch of cool music videos for people and meet some. Hold
on, we're gonna stay right there. Let's talk about that, because you've done, from what I've seen, the Royce one. You've done Josh's, Your Highness. Probably a Richie Prophet.
Definitely.
You know,
a couple Richie Prophet.
You know, so like,
shout out to Richie
Diesel,
Prophet.
Your Highness shit.
You know,
Diesel.
Shout out to Your Highness and Josh, but those are my big brothers, man. I've
so
over at
like,
their house 3-4 times this week, man.
I wanted to
hanging out, having dinner and shit. Josh is, man, chefing it up, you know, getting haircuts. Like,
come on,
man, their house is a sitcom. I
Can't beat
swear,
me.
man. I walk in. Yeah, exactly.
Couldn't beat me.
Hanging out somewhere else. Couldn't beat me,
Exactly.
right? No, it was a sitcom walking in, man. There's 6 people hanging out in the crib, like, you know, somebody's getting cut outside. Josh is cooking up, man. Their baby Knowledge is just chilling over there watching his cartoons. Like, I'm like, what did I walk into, man? I love it.
But I wanted to ask about creating that, like, those space with other creatives, because you said you've got to actually style for a few music videos, but like,
yeah,
what was it like really just being able to foster those relationships in the beginning? Because like, to build the notoriety outside of just
spark this.
absolutely,
Yeah, I'm ready.
building the notoriety outside of just like brand awareness, because like people in Washington wear a lot of shit, like, but to present yourself in a music video, you expect other people to see it.
Right.
So like,
no, totally.
So building that confidence
and to
in
give people, definitely in Seattle more credit, because people in Seattle are very loyal, I feel like, and especially now you're starting to see where people are really showing their support. You know, there are a lot of cool brands in Seattle doing a lot of cool things, and I've seen recent pop-ups being sold out, and I'm like, that is the coolest thing, because they're like, there's enough for all of us to eat. Like, we don't competing with anything. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We don't do different stuff. Like, you know what I mean? We can all make our different versions of similar product. Like, that's what brands have been doing for years anyway. So why are we going to pretend like we're doing anything else?
Come on.
I think it's just important to then give credit when due. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my direct inspiration for those pants was the Gold Vintage, so I'm not going to try to say otherwise. And, oh, yeah, it was some other brand.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it was the Supreme NBA from 3. No, I'm like, no, like, yeah, I saw them do some crazy-ass shit, and I wanted to do something like that. You know what I mean? Like, And to be honest, I think theirs is cooler, but I still wanted to make my version,
Yeah.
you know, for people that, you know, like my brand and want to buy from me, and people that, because I've got different people that buy so much from me that I'm always got to come up with new stuff just for them too. Like you're talking about the Richie Prophets, the Johannes's, the Joshua's.
Yeah.
They're texting me weekly like, hey man, I need some new gear. And I'm like, you have the newest stuff.
You have
Everything.
the new gear.
You have the stuff
everything.
that's at the pop-up for the last month. So what can I really make you? Like,
You,
know,
you keep buying shit. People can't get our For Good
Richie Prophet has
services.
24 hats. Like, you're telling me I'm like, I gotta come
Josh?
up with new hats? Like, I made him 24 different hats. How am I gonna make a new, like, so I appreciate those guys for always challenging me, you know, like.
Quickly, I want to know who's stepping the hardest right now in For Good Services gear.
Man.
I don't want to make. I don't want to stir up the pot, guys. This is pure love.
I got about 5 people that are definitely like, he's about to say me.
Who?
Oh my god. I'm gonna try to save my own back and say me.
Come on.
Bring that shit. Bring that shit,
I got
brother.
the most rare shit, because whenever people are like, yeah, I got something that, no, I really got something you've never seen. Like, oh man. I couldn't name one, man. I'd have to give like a top 5, man, for sure.
I feel that.
Because man, my boy Johannes, he's a stepper.
Yes.
He is a stepper. Flav Central. Like he
him and Richie, bro. I'd be like, they're probably having a fit off right now.
Oh,
they're
1000%.
like,
they
who's stepping better?
Talk about being competitive. They definitely, you know what I mean. They definitely make different shit. They have different stuff. They're like,
You don't even have these pants, cuz.
yes. They're like, man, you got the yellow. Like, I want the yellow now. Like, you know, you got that one. I want that one now. Like, but mine's got to be better. And I'm like, well, how am I gonna do that to him? Like,
No,
you know?
I think that just translates into
Jaime, definitely.
Oh
Yeah, gotta give credit to Jaime, man. That's a he knows how to dress, man. Talk about
that boy be dressing.
If you ever need style advice, any style, go to Jaime. Ask him. He will get you right. Like,
Facts.
every time you see him, he's got something new on that you've never seen before that you got to ask, where is that? Who is that?
Facts.
How'd you get that?
He got crazy pants on right
what
now.
What kind of bot did you have?
He
that you
does
could
have
buy that? Like,
trouser game stupid. I remember telling
hoodie
Jaime.
game stupid.
I don't even know
Shoe
what
game
he's wearing
stupid.
right now.
Every-
You know it's a fit right now.
Also, just a little iteration. Go watch that Welcome to Jaime Mart episode if you got this far into the For Good Services
Better be this
episode.
far
So
in the episode.
you
We're
feel me?
25 minutes in.
Also, real quick, before we get back into this pod, shout out Tranquil Forest. We love you, Benito. Thank you very much. I have my brother to the right of me sparking up that Envy Apple. For all the viewers at home who are wondering, yeah, Envy Apple.
I hope you were able to get it yesterday because that shit is probably sold the fuck out. And this drops in a week, so it's 100% sold the fuck out.
Did you hear that? It drops in a week. Exclusive pack. Continue to run up Tranquil's numbers.
No. This weed is out.
Excuse me.
The episode drops in a week. I don't know if you'll still be able to find it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's more what I was saying.
Yes. All besides the point, fuck with Tranquil.
Facts.
We're here.
No, definitely. Shout out to Tranquil.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
We don't
They
get
make some. Talk about fire. They make some heat.
This is some pressure.
Man.
Word to Mike Jack, so Betty Sacchio.
Mike Jack on the track. Mr. Him. Man, dude, I think it's to go back to the point of just seeing how supported you are with the creatives out here. I think that just translate into the love that you are putting into your clothes. It's literally the essence that is rubbing off onto the people who purchase from you. And, you know, I feel fucking good when I'm in my cap. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm always asked, like, where'd you get that? I've never seen the Mariner store have that. Buddy, it's not in the Mariner store.
I get pressed about the pants.
Dude.
Like,
Your shorts, too.
bro,
I've watched him get pressed about his shorts.
niggas be like, oh, bro, you know, bro? Like, yeah, bro, you never bought. Yeah, bro, I'm going to have to tap in. Everybody, every time I see somebody, I'm
You say that, but I don't see you I don't see your cart.
No, I'm not.
Hey, listen, no, but I don't blame people because I still forget. Like because I'm so used to being in like my community with people that know me, that are able to just hit my line when they need something. I forget that there are still people out there that are like, I still get DMs that are like, oh, like, what's up, y'all? Like, your team is fire. Like, you guys are killing it. And I'm just like, oh, I forget. Like, people don't know it's just me. Like, it's just one person behind it. So with that being said, like, I would feel awkward too reaching out to a brand or something I didn't know, trying to buy something. Like, I'd feel kind of goofy. You know what I mean?
Your shot.
Yeah, but I'm like, so for everybody out there, like, you definitely DM me. Like, you know, if you know somebody that has my number, you can get my number from them. It's fine. This is what I do full time.
Come on.
You know, like, you can buy some product from me.
Come on.
I'm not gonna say no. Like,
exactly.
I will get you hooked up. Like, you know, and it's better if you do text me because then I know who I'm working for, and I can get you the right fit. Like, because everybody's body type is different. You know, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Like, you know, I need to tailor, like, if I'm going to tailor fit it to you, like, I need to know what you look like. You know what I mean? Yes. And I really only need one glance of, like, okay, I know, you know, Corey's fucking tall. So I got to make his shit a little longer. Make sure, you know what I mean? Make sure it gets down to the ankles if he wants that, you know, like, you know. It works better that way to just reach out, you know. Don't be scared to hit me if you want to buy something, if you want something, you know. Because I do this full time. That's what I love to do.
I don't mean to cut you off, or you too, brother, but man, I think that is just like the perfect example of your brand and the name behind it and what you preach. Like, the fact that you take so much care into the community that you serve, I believe it's truly beautiful. Like, we don't have too many. Well, let me not say that.
Side note, that tastes amazing.
Ooh, come on.
MV Apple.
MV Apple. Tranquil.
Tranquil, yeah.
Shop Tranquil.
You know, I'm going to get you a package, man. Come on.
Oh,
come on.
Talk to him.
Come on.
No, yeah. Dude, like, how, I think, I'm trying to sum it up into words, but.
Hit the weed. Hold on, just gather your thought for 1 second.
As soon as I comment that, it's good. He's like, man, I need to hit that.
Exactly. It's like he's thinking, but he's watching the weed. Just hit the tree real quick, brother. Don't rush yourself.
I think, well, like, to be honest with you, I think it really ties in together, going even back to what you're asking about, like, how did I get into those places that I'm getting people my gear with the music videos? Like, man, shout out to Royce, because, I mean, he's a genuinely cool dude. Like, yeah, he brought a couple of his boys through the other day at the studio. Man, we're just hanging out, smoking, talking ideas. I got the little mini hoop in there, so we're shooting, and it's, you know, it's
that's
fun. Like,
fire.
Yeah, man, he's cracking jokes. Like, I like being around that type of energy, like, where we're talking ideas that he likes, and, you know, I feel at home in that environment, you know, like, that's what I try to do every day. Like, you know, some people think it's weird that I go to my studio and I do work every day, but, like, I don't work the whole day. Yeah. Hold on. I don't work the day every day.
Pause on the, who the fuck thinks it's weird that you get up and push yourself in your breath? Get up off your ass. Whoever's like,
no, I've definitely had some people. I you know, I try to, you know, be nice, but I think
that's how you gonna be
like,
broke. That's a broke mindset.
I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this is my shit full time. Like, if I don't go out and get it, who's gonna get it for me?
Come on.
Well, why are people judging other people's lives? Like, that's, you know.
Both of those are a round of applause.
People got to get a hobby.
Bro, no.
No, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to let you know. I hope it's told to you that, like, the fact that you factor in customer service and just, you know, being as humble as you are, articulate as you are, you need to know that you're a fucking honcho. Like, bro, you're going crazy, bro, and like, you need to know this. You are clothing generations, bro. Like. Speaking of, like, yo, and like the people that you're around, like, I could see their kids wearing for good services. Yeah. I could see the whole state.
I got some clothes for Richie's son in the car right now.
You feel me? So the fact that you cater to people and understand the stories out here and understand, like, our communities, I think it's important. I think you need to be highlighted. I think the world needs to know about you. So,
well, like, it really goes. Man, I appreciate you saying that, man.
No, for real.
Like, that makes all that hard work of, like, when I'm working those overnights and I'm just working all night in the studio and I'm like, man, I'm kind of tired. Like, I should probably go home. And I'm like, yeah, let me just make one more thing. Let me just get this one more thing. What if somebody hits me up tomorrow and this is their size and now I got it done now? Instead of telling them, like, let me make this now,
Yeah.
you know, because most of my stuff is made to order. I'll make it for you once you but at the same time, I still like to have stuff ready because there are a lot of times people want to come through the studio and shop, you know. But like I get that it feels so amazing, man, to see people wearing my stuff. Like that's. I was watching the vlog yesterday, man. That's the first thing I did in the morning. Got my coffee, rolled a blunt, and turned on the vlog, man. And I felt so like giddy, you know what I mean? I felt like a fucking little kid watching you wear the hat on there. Like man. I'm like, yo, this motherfucker is on my TV. Like somebody is on my TV wearing like something I made. Like, nah, yeah, it's still surreal sometimes. Like. Well, because I feel like just yesterday I was still at, like, SPU, going to play soccer, about to study business, not doing anything with clothes.
Yeah.
Like, definitely depressed during that time, you know what I mean? Definitely a different part of my life. Definitely a different time where I learned a lot and definitely had to grow and go through an uncomfortable phase, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, it still feels surreal because I can picture, like, the last day on the field I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, man, like, because everybody was real cool about it, too, like, because they could just tell I was kind of fading out of it. Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
I was just, my heart was just not in it. You know, they could see I was, like, still trying to get myself to do shit, but, like, man, it was obvious one day when, like, I had not done anything I needed to take care of myself. I'd just been smoking a ton of weed. I was not eating any food. And then I had to go to, like, the first day of, like, our spring training. So all we're going to do is run. And, like, at one point, my legs were literally not, like, working because you can't go and sprint for, like, an hour and your legs are just going to work, you know? And my legs literally stopped at one point, and then at one point I got sick. Like, I literally was throwing up, and I'm like, this is, like, you know what I mean? This is bad. Like, this is...
Your body's telling you something.
Yeah, it's not only that, but, like, this is a horrible representation of them, too, because, like, my team is putting in hard work. They were good guys. Like, you know, my coach was an amazing coach, somebody that was personally cared about you, and I'm like, this is wrong for them, too. Like, you know what I mean? This doesn't feel good for them. It doesn't feel good for me. Like, and I remember the last day I was leaving, and they're all on the field, and they were being hella nice, and everybody's like, man, like, you know, like, we can't wait to come see when you got, like, a fashion show, when you got, like, a runway show. And, like, here I am a couple years later about to have this pop-up, and, like, little spoiler alert, the third day of the pop-up, man, you're definitely going to want to come to that because I'm going to end it with the little runway show. It's going to be something special.
That's amazing.
And I'm thinking about, like, the full circle moment, which also then ties back to kind of what you asked earlier about the shapes and the patterns and stuff. That's why I do a lot of circles and half circles, because everything comes full circle.
Come on. You gotta let it ring off. You can't just drop a gem like that. You can't let the applause ring off. You gotta let it ring off. I wanted to ask you about collaborations, because maybe early on when we met, you were like busting your ass on a collab with Sam.
Yeah.
And you
That
don't
was a
do
fun one.
and
That
you
was
don't
cool.
really do collabs.
Not really. I'm a very to some extent I'm a control freak for sure. So that was a great project for me because he was like, I really love what you do. Here's kind of my outline, which was really simple because he was like, he just wanted to tie along with his album, which is the name of it fits into what I do and a lot of the fabric I work with. You know, so I'm like, oh, it's a no-brainer. Like I can run with that a million different directions. But he also just gave me like creative control because I made a bunch of different patchwork hoodies that he liked, and he was like, I like that one, and I was like, okay, cool. And he was like, let's make that one. Okay, cool. like that. And he was like, yeah, like hired somebody to come through. We did a little video for. We did the little promo. They did some amazing photos, and that was a great collab for sure. You know, because like he let me do my thing and he took care of me completely. I had never had any issues. He paid me right away.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It was great. Like, love working with him. Hopefully I can continue to work with him.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sam, man. That's a good guy. He's back grinding, man. He's been working. He's got his podcast going. He just started one.
Oh shit.
He's cooking on some ideas.
He just started.
Yeah, I think he just dropped like the 3rd episode.
Okay,
yeah.
what's that shit? What's that shit called?
Oh man, no, it's you got to check it out, man. He was talking about like he was getting deep on it, man. He was talking about like when he went to rehab and stuff.
Oh shit.
Yeah, man, you got to check it out.
That's fire.
Sure.
No,
we're definitely gonna tap in.
We love the field, man. I love hearing when people.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Sam Lachow, man.
Podcasting.
He was a cool dude. But I got that connection. I mean, it's crazy. So I've got all these different connections through something organic for sure. Like how I talked about not pushing my brand and people organically finding it, and like it was really cool because one of the first people that bought something from me was Justin Leggett. He's a Nordstrom stylist. He styles a bunch of big name people in Seattle.
I heard that name before.
You probably have. He styles Russell Wilson and Sierra, and yeah, he's up there. Yeah. Yeah, if you saw the image of like Russell Wilson wearing that like crazy nice Burberry suit, and like that was Justin. He helped put that one together.
Oh, come on.
But he does a lot more than that. But
come on, shout out Justin.
That was actually when I was working at Burberry, which was previous to Gucci. I was doing like a bunch of back of house work for them. Like I can't remember what my title was, but like sales associate assistant or something like that. Because I just grabbed sizes for the sales associates that were selling on the floor for Burberry, and I just happened to like be helping him. I was ringing him up. Yeah. And I just like, I had something about with the style, and he was like about to buy this t-shirt. It was like $500. And I was like, dude, like, this is not worth $500. This is a cool t-shirt, but it's not $500. Yeah. And he was like, I could see him doubting himself. And I was just like, man, like, don't. I was like ringing up. I'm like, don't buy this. And he was like, I'm debating it. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm on the fence. And I was like, dude, like, don't buy this. he was like, what should I get? And I was like, man, just like, you could get something else. Like, man, this is crazy. And we just continued to talk a little bit, and eventually I mentioned like, oh, I actually make clothes. I happened to that day wear a flannel to work, and I had it in the back because we had to wear a uniform for Burberry. Yeah. I had that flannel in the back, and he was like, oh, like, do you have anything on you? I was like, yeah, actually I have this flannel in the back. Like I made this from scratch. Yeah. Went to the back, showed him, and he was like this is amazing. Like, I'm going to New York Fashion Week next week. Like, if you can make me one before then, like, I'll buy it. And said X amount of dollars, and I was like, oh shit, like that's a for my first sale. I was like, oh, that's a big ticket. I will get this done. I worked like the next 2 nights overnight because I was still working. I started to work the next day at Burberry, so I worked like all night that next night. Went to work tired as fuck. Same thing the next night. Finished it up for him Sunday and got it to him like the Monday, I think, and then he left and he wore it when he was in New York Fashion Week, like just roaming around. Yeah, was wearing it with like this crazy the Dior saddlebag. Has some Gucci. Fire. Yeah, I was like, shh. Yeah, so that was like, it was crazy. That was just a very organic meeting with him too. But like those stylists and stuff quickly got around with them as far as like who, like what is that? And so I started selling to a bunch of those people. But while I was working at Gucci, I met my boy Mo, Mr. Nice Nice. Yeah, big shout out to Mr. Nice Nice. Shout out Mo. Yes, so he pulled up, man, and I was so thankful that he started working there because it was just slow during that period of time, and he's such a good guy to like talk to, and he's exciting, and turns out we knew some of the same people. I went to high school with some guys that he knew, and it was crazy. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, like, by the way, man, like, I'm a rapper. And I was like, oh man, like, I made clothes, like, bro, let me get you some clothes. And and that was like 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago. Nice. Yeah, and Mr. Nice. And so that's actually how I got the collab with Sam, is because I gave Mo a hoodie, or he bought a hoodie from me or something, and Mo has a ton of gear too. But he had left the hoodie at Sam's house when he had just been chilling there one time, and like Sam had seen it. He's like, I like this. I'm about to wear this. And then I got a random message from him, like, all of a sudden I saw a DM from Sam LaCha, and I was like, man, like, I saw the little blue check, whatever. I was like, man, like, I was like, there's no way this is real, like. And then it was him. He was like, yo, man, like, Mo left a hoodie at my house. Like, I've been wearing it. Like, bro, I had to shout you out. Like, man, like, what's up? And I was like, bro, like, let me get you some more clothes, too. Yeah. And that kind of just came from there, so.
Fostering the relationships.
Yeah, man, it was crazy.
I wanted to ask you about your marketing mind, because I feel like the way you market hasn't really been done in the city, and just putting the work in for building the brand, making the connections. But like, it seems like over the last year and a half, you've made that like bigger push of like for good services. And like, I wanted to ask you about like how did you think about like marketing and just like branching out to these brands? So like before meeting, like making these small relationships, but how did you like, all right, now as my business, not just me as like being friends and just like building these connections, but how am I gonna like take advantage of it and leverage it for marketing wise?
I think it definitely took time. It definitely took that 3 years of development, because the reason I was also not saying I had a brand during that time is because, in my opinion, I didn't. I was just making samples. I was making all the styles that I'm like, I like this, but let's see how it ages in 2 years. Let me see what this looks like in 2 years, you know? if this looks good in 2 or 3 years, like, okay, maybe I'm onto something,
Yeah.
you know, because I need my stuff to age well. If my name is for good, you know, and I'm talking about being long term, and then I make some cheesy ass trendy, you know, I'm like, that's the opposite, you know, like that's,
Exactly.
you know. But if I make something that in 5 years it looks good, that's more my style.
Yeah.
You know, that's more my aim. That's more what I'd like to do. So it definitely took that time and that trial and error of finding things that people like. And it's crazy to look back at some of that product because I've like that early product, the stuff that I had in the archives, I gave a bunch of it out because I didn't want to sell it. Like in my opinion, it was the samples. So I was just giving it out to friends and stuff. And like, as I look back on some of those pieces, I'm like, yo, these are crazy. Like these are, I forget what I made. Like I've made so many different pieces over time that I'm like, yo, people will wear stuff and I'm like, is that for like, is that me? And they're like, yeah, you remember like you made this and gave it to me and like I was like, no, I forgot. Like, I didn't know.
I've been cooking.
Yeah, so it was definitely like a trial and error phase as far as finding my style because at the same time, like I talked about liking all these different brands, some of the bigger brands out there that I follow, Aim Leon Dior, Kid Super Studios, Reese Cooper.
Super goes crazy.
They're nuts. That was a huge inspiration for the organic shapes for me too because they do a lot of the face. They do a lot of like the Picasso style, but they do that on the clothes. I can't copy that. That's just
It's crazy.
That is
and
next level.
He's been going crazy for years.
Crazy, and then the Puma stuff started going nuts too. They went, so I really like the Kid Super stuff. Love that guy. Cole, I think his name is Cole Delom, or sorry if I pronounced it wrong to this guy, but he is.
I watched his Vice story, cause
I think Colm or something, right?
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Kid Super. Fuck with the brand.
Right,
Sorry if we got your name wrong, you know.
Yeah. The point is, if you don't know about Kid Super, check them out because not only do they have the most crazy shit I've ever seen, but it's like good. It's great pricing.
It's great pricing.
It's great pricing. I've seen that kind of stuff go for $1,200. You know, like they had like a trench coat. It was like $250.
I know.
I was like,
and you could tell how much time and like effort.
That was one of the times that I'm like, I gotta buy it. And I'm just so bad about letting myself spend on I haven't bought myself shoes. I haven't bought myself anything like besides like my brand stuff in like probably a year. And it's tough. It's tough to do it, but I'm trying to sacrifice right now so I can buy cool shit later and buy and support all those brands. And hopefully be buying and supporting the brands that are popping up in Seattle too, because there are a lot of ones that I'm starting to see early that I can see like, oh, this person has something going for themselves early. They don't quite have a brand yet, but they're making really cool pieces. Give them 3 months and they'll have something solid.
Something crazy.
I've seen a couple of those pages, you know, recently that I'm like, oh, I like that patchwork. That looks like, oh, that looks like something like I would like to make. Like that looks like something that I'd like. That looks like, you know, because I like a lot of Japanese brands. Like Capital's a big one for me. They do the coolest patchwork for sure.
Capital goes crazy.
I like them a lot. That's like because they do the bandanas as well, and I love the little bandanas. You know, that's one of my signatures, a little bandana. Yeah. But then another brand, APC for sure. Like I like theirs. I like they started doing more louder patterns and stuff like that too. You know, and I like that because like a lot of what they were doing was just amazing tailoring. You know, amazing fits, amazing quality of fabrics, and like, you know, it's stuff like that I'm inspired by. But it was taking those inspirations and then trying to. Like, honestly, it's like trying to imitate them. I was trying to make my version of what they had, and it always just comes out different. And it always was to the point that I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, this is kind of my style. Like, I kind of I found my style by trying to imitate what I like. Yeah. You know? And just giving it time because the marketing was also something that then came with studying other brands that I liked, like Fear of God. Because Fear of God is how I market myself, too. Because they have basically 3 levels to their... how they sell shit. Yeah. They have their Fear of God, their top level, their $1,200, $1,500, $3,000 Sherpa, you know, jackets, crazy amazing pieces. Like when that big, you know, wave was coming and you're seeing all these celebrities wearing it and Jerry Lorenzo was like everywhere, you know? Like that's when I started studying like, okay, like I want a pair of those. Oh, they're $950. Okay, I can't afford those. You know what I mean? But I like those.
How do I get my own?
And then they started doing like the Fog, which was like the PacSun release, which was like, you know, $125 flannels and foldable jeans and long scoops. And I was like, oh, like that's smart. they have the stuff up here that you can't touch. But then they have stuff down here that's mass produced that they're making more money on that you can touch.
Yeah.
And it's more so like for everybody to be a part of.
Yeah.
But they also have that stuff in the middle that's more so, oops.
Oh, no, you're good, man.
They also have that stuff in the middle that's more so like the custom pieces, because now you've started to see people have custom pieces.
Yeah.
And like so-and-so had a Fear of God, leather jacket for their music video.
One-on-one.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like that's really cool too, because I like doing one-of-ones.
You getting that sub-layer.
Yeah, but at the same time, as I try to view myself as a real brand, I need to have multiples of each size and, try to have a full size run of product and offer it in quantity, at least small quantity now, but some sort of quantity.
Yeah, so that you hit the level of tiers that like fulfill you as a creative, so that you sustain a like high-end brand, but you can also make something like tees and hoodies where they're a little bit more accessible, but still get your one-offs, because I love the one-offs. And
exactly, and I like doing that too, because like I said, I like knowing who I'm working for. I like knowing who I'm making a piece for, If I'm making a piece for Your Highness, it's going to be a different piece than I'm making for like Royce. It's
got to fit different.
Yeah, I got to make them different styles that are going to fit their videos. That are, if there's a narrative they're trying to tell in each story, I got to make sure I fit that narrative. Because those are two great people. You know what I mean? And I got to make sure I respect them equally. Same as everybody I'm making the stuff for. You know what I mean? If there's ever like an issue with like my product, I want somebody to not be afraid to tell me so I can get them something new.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be like, oh, well, you fucked up and, you didn't take care of it right. And like, oh, man, that's my bad. I probably should have told you, like, some of the stuff is sensitive to how you take care of it. If you want it to last longer, maybe don't put it in the dryer. You can still wash it however you want, but air dry it. You know what I mean? Hang dry it. Give it a little bit more love and it'll love you back.
Exactly.
I love that. But, like, more so to answer your question directly with the marketing, I directly marketed myself like Fear of God with offering the stuff to those artists like Your Highness and Josh and Reggie and Trent, DJ Trent, man.
Shout out Trent.
Yes, man. That's actually how I got connected with Royce.
Oh, fire.
Yeah, Your Highness connected me with Trent. Trent came by, bought a bunch of stuff, came back another time, bought more stuff, was like, hey, like my bro's about to be with me, like, is that cool? I was like, yeah, man, like, I trust you. Like, yeah, exactly. Whoever you bring through is good. Like, it's good, yeah. And
that's so Washington. That's really
like,
so Washington shit.
Yeah,
bro. Yeah, I was
gonna
bring my bro through. Yeah, my bro's Royce.
He was like, yeah, like, what's up, bro? I'm Royce. And I was like, yeah, man, nice to meet you. And I'm like, I know exactly who you are. In my mind, but I'm trying to look cool. I'm like, yeah, I'm Michael. I'm in clothes. What do I do with my hands?
While we're on the topic of fashion, I really wanted to know where was your first instance of falling in love with clothes?
Subconsciously, when I was like 2.
Tell the story.
I didn't have a stuffed animal when I was a kid. I had a shirt, an old like quarter button like polo from when I was like a baby.
Fire.
Navy. I still have it. I called it buttons because it had 3 buttons, and that was like what I liked about it. I liked how the buttons felt when I held that shit. I was like, this is cool. Like this. So that was like what comforted me. So that was like what I had for like a long time when I was a kid. That was like, I had buttons. I didn't have like a stuffed dog or something. So like subconsciously I liked clothes before I even knew it. Like I had a shirt as like my favorite thing, not a blanket.
You like the way it made you feel. You like the comfort it allowed to you. That's really fire.
And like my mom has pictures of when I was a kid, and I was like, I'd be like 3 or 4, and I was like trying to comb my own hair and like. I had like certain clothes on and I was like posing a certain way like for the picture. Like it was just different shit like that I subconsciously was like, oh, I was into style and fashion and like with all that shit without even knowing.
Way back.
Like, I grew up in Renton Highlands, which is almost like Issaquah area. In between Issaquah and Renton. So it's a weird mix of people. It's a weird mix of like people that think that they're in Issaquah and that want to think that they're really like, well off and high end. They're, it was just a weird fucking, so it was a lot of like sports where I grew up. It was a lot of basketball and football and soccer, And like I said, rugby was cool. Actually, I liked the rugby kids. They were cool. They were the kids that I liked.
Because they were down to fight.
Yeah, I would have played rugby. Yeah, if I was bigger, man, I was gonna get crushed though, man. I'm little, especially in high school, man. When I was in 9th grade, I was still like 5'2", man. I hadn't grown at all. Like
they were gonna.
Yeah, little guy. You know what I mean? Because they always tried to tell me like I'd have been good because I played soccer. So I was like quick and cutting, and they were like, "Oh, you should play." And
you're like, "Fuck no." Fuck no. Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm gonna get crushed.
What's something that you're hoping to create for the future, as far as like with your brand or just you as a human being?
Oh man, I definitely just want to get to the point where I can start getting more things made for me. You know, start going to a manufacturer. It's kind of the awkward point that I'm at. It's an awkward point because I like being the one that makes it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I need to start offering more things, and I need to work a little smarter and not harder. You know, because I'm getting to the point where I'm like, people not only now know me, but they just know the brand. They just know the clothes.
Yeah.
And like that's now the point where I'm like, I got to start getting shit made for me, so I have stuff for people that don't necessarily care that I'm the one that made it.
Yeah.
You know, that they just like the designs.
Yeah.
Because that's realistically what a brand is.
Yeah.
You know, you like the brand, you like the clothes. You don't really care who makes it.
Who makes it?
Yeah, it makes it cooler when you learn the story and you get to meet the person, or they do a pop up, and you know that adds value to it. But like, for the most part, people don't really care. They just like the designs. You know, the clothes. You know, if you make a good design, it'll sell.
Exactly.
So I'm getting to that point where more people know me for the designs than me. So I'm like, I need to start getting things made for me, and then that way I can focus on doing more of the customs and the one-on-ones, and really focusing on, you know, my artist friends and people that want to collab, and you know, because I haven't really had much focus and haven't really had much want to collab, because I'm like, I got so much going with my brand, and I'm like, it's just like, unless there is something really valuable, you're opening me up to a whole new audience, which at this point is kind of rare. Because I'm like, man, I got guys like Johannes and Josh that are like, they know everybody. They're pushing, if they're wearing my shit and pushing my shit, and they have people that are thinking it's their brand. Yeah. I don't really need to show my face too often because they're everywhere. They touch down, and then, you know, they're good people. So,
what's something
you know? I got carried away.
What's something that you strive to create for the future?
Brand, I'd like to go international for sure. That's my next. That's my next. Like my next goal is really to go international. Start getting some my foot in the door over there. Yeah. Yeah. Because one of my best friends, he just signed a contract to go play overseas. I don't know if I'm supposed to not say his name or whatever yet, because he just signed that. I won't say it. Absolutely. But yeah, one of my best friends, he just signed to go play in Italy. Like. Big deal for him. Yeah, he killed it last year. Put in a ton of work in in a team where he didn't really want to be there, but it was overseas. He killed it. Is now going to play in one of the best teams in Europe, and he's got a great setup. They took care of him, so I'm like, I'm gonna go stay with him. I will be visiting you as soon as possible.
Exactly.
So,
get this.
Exactly. And then from there, I definitely want to dive over to. I really want to try and just do what I've done here and develop those cult followings in those tiny, little countries that have a liking for the clothes, because my stuff is European inspired anyway. So let me take it over there and offer them something, maybe, not necessarily new, but offer them something that's from a different place. Yeah. Offer them something.
Your style, what
they've been accustomed to. Offer them my style and see what they like about it, because I know some places will like it. I know some places won't like it. Yep. It's just how it goes with fashion. Exactly. It's just how it goes with art. Not everybody's going to like everything you make, it's just, and to be honest, I don't want people to like everything I make. I need some people to be like, nah, I need some haters out there to let me know I'm doing something right. I need some people that.
That's how you know you're on the right path.
So Europe, that's the next.
Europe is
that's
the next
where I
jump.
want to go next. Yeah.
That's amazing.
All I hear before you start, is a Groovy Tapes Europe trip before it gets
bro, we gotta go. Bro, we gotta go see Archie. We gotta go across the pond to see Archie.
We got a friend in the UK too, so
shout out Archie.
Shout out Archie.
Go crazy.
Like I mentioned, I play soccer. I still do watch soccer a lot. I watch European soccer. English Premier League is what I watch a lot.
Fire.
What in there? Liverpool, global, not local.
Oh yeah, that cracks me up. I was just watching that movie that I like watching movies when I'm at the studio working, like background noise and stuff. And they just re-added that old Penguin surfing movie, Surf's Up.
Oh, that's my shit,
bro. Shiverpool, that had me dying. I was laughing way harder than I should have.
Probably one of the most slept on
this place sucks, bro.
soundtracks. Also, I love Chicken Joe.
Oh, 1000%, man, Chicken Joe. When he pokes his head in the cave and then the thing like hisses back at him, he's like, "That's cool." Love Chicken Joe.
And before I wrap it up, Michael, do you got anything you want to bless the viewers with? Anything you want to leave off?
Hopefully, you guys didn't get tired of me talking because I talked a whole lot. So, no, thank you for allowing me to be in this space. Thank you for having me. I was very excited. I told Corey We talked about this a few months ago, and
Yeah.
I told him I was honestly like very nervous to do so because I was like, I don't think I have much to offer people yet. I'm like, I'm still early in learning and stuff yet, but I don't know. Sometimes there's value in telling people, you know, the behind the scenes of what it really takes. You know, I'm like, I've had in the past month, I've had a couple 18-hour days. I accidentally took some. Well, I didn't accidentally. I took some Adderall and I had a 26-hour day because I do not need any boosters. Yeah, I do not need any boosters. And just weed. That's all I do. But yeah, that was it takes a lot of those long days and just knowing there's not always going to be the reward either. There's going to be times that you make something and you're very excited about that product and then the person does not like it. And you know, you got to be able to deal with that and take that positively because I'm a very emotional person too. Yeah. So like it's hard for me to show to not show my emotion when somebody's like, when somebody's talking negative, you know what I mean? Because it's just a difficult thing, you know.
Yeah, it's your baby.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so I'm like, you just gotta remember that and just keep going. You just gotta make it for the people like you guys, you know, the people that are like, yeah, that makes you so happy. You got the hat on and everything, and like you just gotta make it for the people that you identify with and people that appreciate what you do. You appreciate what they do.
Yeah. That was beautiful.
That was beautiful. You've been grooving with the South. This is KWJT. It's Michael, Corey, Solana.